Shai. Bashim Rikak Wadash. The water Yahawah. Shalaki Yahawah. For my sins as I cry. Baba Yahawah. For your mercy all the time. Barakatha Yahawah. Bashim Yahawashai. Dwara Yahawah. For the Akim that you supply. Dwara Yahawah. For the aqua that comply. Kolo Yahawah. Bashim Yahawashai. Bashim Kadash Raka. Kolo Yahawah. Bashim Yahawashai. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother, Obadiah Yahweh Canaan. And I'm coming to you this evening with a new lesson. Father welled up in my spirit and had me go at it, had me get to it. And so here I am. I'm going to get my salutations out to the house of David, that is the selected, elected, first and foremost, because that's who we need to be talking to, because they're the individuals and those are the ones that are going to see a great measure of transformation, as well as they're going to see a great measure of correction. The house of Israel, and it starts first, and it's going to start right at the top and work its way all the way down through the entire lineage and generations of Yahweh Shem Yahushai as selected, elected, and all of the Israelites. Everybody's going to be addressed before they're put to rest, so to speak. So we'll definitely get our salutations out to all of the men who have been out there diligently doing the work in the heat. The weather's okay, but it's still hot. And I know it, and they're out there, and I got to give it to them. Stay hydrated, my brothers. Stay up. We ain't got very long to go. We want to definitely give our admiration and appreciation to those men who have stayed with this the revelation of what we have at this time. Those men of the great millstone, they came through of old. They were mantled first in terms of what level of accuracy the truth is providing, and because they have been mantled in doing that, they've been sticking to the sacred name. No one's perfect. None of us are completely compliant all the way with Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and we are striving to follow our predestinated process that we have been brought into and afforded to handle and deal with. And so, all those men, those bishops, those elders, and those men of the Lord, like-minded, understanding, are out there diligently doing what they're doing, whether they're doing it in season and out, they're doing it. We want to definitely get our salutations out to them. Okay. We got a lesson, and I'm going to give you this title. If you have not heard the title already, I'm going to make sure that you do hear it. And it reads, Yahawah has, before the foundation of any worlds that he created, of course, we don't know how many, established. He established, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. But I know that in the portion that you're seeing, it's just saying, in earth as it is in heaven. But that's, of course, coming from Revelation, and we're going to bring out that scripture as well. So that's what the narrative of the lesson is going to be in terms of when we get into the meat of the situation, and how we break it down, and what we're going to be breaking down from that capacity. We're going to go also into the Old Testament and the New Testament, and we're going to expound on the reformation of understanding in reference to where we are at this time, and to the best of the ability of being able to translate that information, and just follow suit with what YAHAWAH has set up for us to bring some clarity to that understanding. And we just give all praise, worship, and prayer wrapped in repentance to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem Kadash Rakah. Okay. First, I'm going to start out a little bit with a little bit of the commentary that we need to address, because that's important. A little humid, but we're going to make it, and we're going to bring it out. You know, the thing that the Father has me leaning on quite heavily throughout this portion of this portionality of ministry that He's had me participate in. I mean, I'm just a participant, just a servant. I don't claim any specific title other than just being a servant. And I haven't been told that I should claim any other title other than being a servant. I know that that is proficient in terms of what YAHAWAH has afforded me at this time. I know many times when I read in scripture that the angels say, "See thou do it not. I am a servant," you know, a brother of yours. And I came here to present that information that I'm sent from YAHAWAH to do so. So we have to look at ourselves in terms of what level of humility YAHAWAH has put us in terms of our participation here in this fallen state, in this particular period of time. So that's all I can claim in terms of that sort of situation. And I'm very humbly thankful and grateful that He allowed me to be part of the ministry of Hamashiach in terms of bringing that information forward. He wants me to expound on a few things that I think are very important. You know, if we look at the books that belong to us, the Torah, the Pentateuch, the Book of Remembrance, all these names that you see that the Father has presented for us in reference to gathering our understanding, the Apocrypha as well. We come to understand that the Father is in control of absolutely all creation at all times. And I think at some point we maybe spiritually in a mature or immature fashion take a little bit of liberty based on spiritual blockage and how much we actually understand about bringing that information forward. And that becomes quite a bit of a challenge for us as created entities of YAHAWAH and what He would expect of us. So in saying that, it brings me into the conversation about as it is in heaven. And I guess what He wants me to bring forward as best as He'll have me do it is this, that the things that we're going through right now, and I'm saying all creation, I'm going to circle it down, of course, to the Israelite heritage, in terms of that transitional period that will fulfill and finish that I know from scriptures, the prophetic movement that the Father is transitioning us through. And in lieu of that, and enlightening us to that, we should start to become, I believe we should become better clue solvers in picking up his vibration in reference to what your position should be in terms of how you are going to, translate information about where you are right now in this prophetic timeline, in this period of time, which is a fallen state that the Father has created for the purpose of cleansing, purification, to your graduation to regeneration, and then your continuous. I'm talking about now in your continuous existence in an immortal fashion, and I'm talking about the elect now, the selected elect, as will be the rest of the Israelites that will be in the kingdom, that will be in rulership under heavenly rules, because heaven is ruling all creation. I think we can't lose focus of that. And see, the thing about what we're seeing a lot of, which is part of Jacob's trouble of deception. See, there's a level called Jacob's trouble, but then there's Jacob's trouble of deception that the Father controls in terms of putting that forward in reference to fulfilling prophecy and all of what we're seeing. The level of deception that's being wielded by, let's just bring it forward, the Edomites, the so-called superiority people who seem to have been put in a position to do things that would make you believe that they have no reins upon them. Nothing's holding them in check to do what they're doing, but that's not true. Everything that they are doing is already predetermined, is calculated, and is scheduled. And they're performing exactly the way they are constructed to perform. They are the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, and they have been in position to do this for thousands of years. It's in this fallen state capacity. Okay. Now, knowing that that is the case, what clue solving capacity should you be in reference to going through the process of these entities doing the things they're doing, which is already predetermined? Well, you should be giving YAHAWAH, the Father, who is not coincidentally, but completely, he is the anchor of all power. So any powers that are operating have to come from his foundational source and resource, including YAHAWAH, angels, and anything in creation that is moving in that direction to fulfill this prophetic timeline. All power anchors with the Father. The Father is the actual and complete Savior. He sent his Son as a complete mirrored expression and representation of himself to perform the salvational portion and deliverance of what the Father set up for our ability to be back in the grace and the presence and in the heavenly realm under that rulership of YAHAWAH. Now, it's important for us to start to focus on the fact that, you know, this is a temporal period here. My brother Yaki from Chicago Camp Elders, he always talks about this evil temple world, which is set up by the Father. You know, we know this to be the case, and the fact is, all Scripture points to that effect, that we are in this realm of an evil temple world, and being in this evil temple world, it's completely controlled by the Father. You know, in Isaiah 45:7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, YAHAWAH, Lord in capital letters, do all these things. He didn't leave anything out. All these things, you know, and so if I jump right up one more scripture to 6 in Isaiah 45, and he reads that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west, and that there is none beside me. I am YAHAWAH, and there is none else. Now, a lot of people get that confused, and they start thinking, well, see, there's only one power, one real power. Well, true to a degree in terms of foundational origination. Yes, Yahawah is that one, and no one's beside him until he determined through the power that he exists with and controls the Kadash Rakah, the Holy Spirit, and Yahweh Shai brought into existence by Yahweh. So that all power is anchored with Father, and Father controls all creation. And the thing that I wanted to get into, I don't want to go too far on that side of it, is the fact that with Yahweh, he already established everything already in terms of what's going to be, what's not going to be, who's going to be where, what, how, when, and what exists, what doesn't exist, and what's going to exist, and what's going to happen. He's already done it, and it's already set up. So to the contrary, if anybody thinks that there's something that is going on and he's not in control of it, then they are spiritually blocked, and that is the case. And spiritual blockage, as I've said many times before, that the Father had me say, it's not necessarily a negative thing, because everything in that he put in creation that's operating in under his control has a form of spiritual blockage on it, and it could be a good thing for protection as well as a chastisement thing as far as what we consider to be correction and punishment. So, but spiritual blockage is necessary because of the way that the Father's MO is and how he operates. He's very covert in what he does. He only reveals what is necessary to be revealed. Other than that, if it's not necessary for you to know it, then his manifold understanding and his manifold application is in play at all times. So there's certain levels that he affords to certain individuals that were predetermined to have information, including and not limited to spiritual power. It's all been scheduled and designated, those that will have it, those that will not, and at what limit it will be applied. So that needs to be clearly understood. And we're going to talk about the separation between before the fall, and that wall, those angels with those flaming swords that were at the gate as a representation of once Adam and Eve was sent out of out of Eden, the Garden of Eden. They can't come back in until the absolute prophetic process of the cleansing and purification back to Yahweh is finished down the line in history. So just to be matter of fact, we have to be able to separate the retranslation of the information, and also the ability to understand how we're going to be adopted back into that realm. Okay, but the adoption that comes back into that realm, the ability for us to reincarnate back into the realm of before the fall, and past that wall of the fall, being in that beginning when we were transitioned out of the spirit and put into a formation of a flesh mass, a mass of flesh that Adam was before the actual fall happened, okay, with him and Eve. He was in a format of a fleshly derived creation that had the ability, was given the ability of the breath of life, which you saw it was just breathed into Adam, which means he was giving the first remnant of the law. He was given the first, what will be sort of an oral rendition of the law put into his inward parts from that Ruach, from that Kadesh Rakah, that Ruach that the Father breathed into his vessel, and he became a living soul. In terms of the living soul that he was at that time, was not yet fallen. Remember, now, a lot of us think and a lot of us talk about getting back to that format, but we will hit that mark of the format in terms of creation, but we're going to go past it, because the flesh that Adam was put in before he and Eve fell, they were in a perfect type of formatted flesh, but it was scheduled for the fall. So that means that it had attributes that had to go into various different developments over time. You know, I was listening to a bit of some information earlier, and it talked about how the Father had many of his created entities during that time, like Methuselah, Alphaxad, Seth, and all of them, and how many years they lived. You know, like Methuselah lived over like 900 years. And then in Genesis chapter 6, verse 3, Yahweh talks about that his spirit won't dwell with men. In fact, I'm not going to butcher it. Let's just do it. Genesis 6, okay, and 3. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Colon, there's a colon there, right? Yet his days shall be 120 years. And you know, if you look at that quick breakdown, and let's just kind of like snap through it real quick. Just real quick. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but just kind of give you a synopsis, a little synopsis. When he says, when Yahweh says, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh. Now the Most High is telling you that the spirit that's in, that he's putting a portion of his spirit in that flesh, which is what he breathed that breath of life and the knowledge into Adam at that present time. And then, you know, once he did that, of course, after that process was completed, he also took from Adam the portion of the soul and the flesh component to make Eve his woman, right, his wife. And he presented him to him. And then once he presented Eve, Adam chose based on what was presented. Soulmate. That's what that would be, a soulmate. Okay, we're not going to delve, we're not going to digress. Right back into what I was saying. So once that flesh was the breath of life, the knowledge, the law was put in Adam, then Eve was taken from Adam. They were in complement of what would be a form of understanding and existence right before they fell. Okay, that was a window of time. We don't know exactly how much time before Eve was had in communication with the entities of the other nations that were in the garden. In particular, we can single out the Canaanites based on the attributes of what they continue to do further on down into scripture and into history and moving forward in dealing with the Adamites. There were multiple nations in the garden, not just two people, and no one talked to a snake. Okay, let's just get out of that fairy tale stuff that Edom comes up with. So bottom line is, there was a window of time, but we don't know exactly how much time there was before Eve had communication and an interaction with individuals that would give her the unction to believe that she should be equal with Adam in every capacity to become a sufficient helpmate. You know, you got to understand, when Esau comes with, and his lineage comes with deceptive conversation, which you can clearly see happens now. They don't come all the time from a negative platform. They come with a platform of flattery, a platform of exaltation to you in reference to seeing what your shine is, and then say you should be at this level based on who you are and what your shine is. So they told her, of course, that her compliment to her man would be more helpful if she was in the capacity to be a equal partner in understanding across the board on everything that was being done. That didn't fit in terms of what Yahawah had planned for everything. We don't know what the plan would be going forward over the wall of the fall in terms of the new covenant, new kingdom. We don't have that information, so we don't know what level we will continue to be amongst each other completely. We have some indication based on, we have 144,000 set apart from all of the tribes that will be in a governing capacity of rulership under the orders and strict order and jurisdiction of Yahawah, the Father, and Yahawashi. There will be no lineage of the sons of Yahawah and the daughters of Yahawah, the priest and the princesses and the kings and so on, that will be doing whatever they want to. That's not what's going on in heaven. When the scripture says, as in earth as it is in heaven, everything in heaven is in order. Now, if anyone can come and say at any given point in time that everything that's going on in heaven is not in order, then you're not in this truth from a mature spiritual understanding, because the Father has absolutely everything in control. Yeah, we get a lot of wacky-tacky religious practitioners coming up with talking about books of Enoch and giant fallen angel men that came, angels that sired giant entities. This is all twisted, because this book is not for them. So how could they interpret it in truth? They can't. They don't understand who is the real fallen. And if they could understand that, they wouldn't tell you it anyway. So they're going to lean on that kind of stuff. But anyway, not to digress, what I'm saying is real clear. At that point in time, when Adam was, it says that, Adam was not deceived, but Eve was deceived, and then it was the fall. Well, both of them were deceived. It just was a matter of time that the deception ran rampant through all of the generations in this period of time of Adam and Eve, all the way down to the naming and the identification and the development of the Israelites. Okay, and then of course the deception is rampant through all creation. Let's not get it twisted. We know that is the case. If you have a clear understanding, if you have eyes to see, ears to hear, like Yahawah says, you can see that the Father has the deception level of infection running rampant through all creation. It really does. So, not to digress and to keep moving forward, we at this present time, we have this form of flesh that the Father says right here in Genesis 6, that he says that, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh. Now, when you strive, what does that mean? I mean, when you're striving, that means that there's a portion of agreement that will have some challenges, okay? Because when you're striving for something, that means you are moving forward with the process of trying to get it, or process, not trying, but the process of getting it done. Striving is a process, and within that process, there will be levels of let's just say ups and downs. There will be hurdles that have to be managed. There will be all types of challenges in the process of something that you are striving. Now, does that mean that the Father has struggles with striving? No. His strive is not what our strive is. His strive is his long suffering, which means his patience, as well as his grace and mercy that he has on us as a creation that he brought into existence, and the clue solving process that we are going through. So as we go through the clue solving process that he put us through in order for us to be cleansed and purified, to be back in his holy presence for eternity, the striving process is our portion. We are striving, but he's striving with us, because he said, my spirit shall not always strive with men. So that means when he's not striving with us, he's presenting the information. We have to solve the clue. He's long suffering towards solving the clues that are taking us through the prophetic timeline for our cleansing and purification. Now, one of the things that we're going to focus on today is that in earth as it is in heaven. Now, when you're here in earth and you're going to be operating, as I say, in this fleshly format to strive, to be with Yahawah, okay? And he put a schedule of time that's associated with this striving, Okay. Now, when he talked about, we talked about how men and they mainly named men, but I'm sure there were some women that were living that for a number of years as well, in the hundreds. Else, how could there be children without the women, right? Okay, during this flesh period in time. So, let's say if we looked at Enoch, and then Enoch, he lived like 600 some odd years, or maybe I think a little more, yeah, about that. And then he had what, Methuselah, and then Methuselah lived 900 years. So, okay, what is the significance of the years in terms of the time when the Father finally whittled it down and said, you're only going to, my man will only live 120 years, and we seem to see that to be the case anyway, right now. What we're trying to delineate here is to give you the understanding that the Father is showing total control of the sequence of how we will denigrate, how we will start to dissipate over time based on the fallen state that we're in. And as we go through that fallen state period, we see that the progression of humans, of Israelites and the rest of the nations as well, start to lose the amount of years in reference to their existence as far as the flesh is concerned. Now, there's many facets of understanding. Some have a genealogical capacity to say that over the time with the environment and what we eat and what we do, that we start to lose age, and we start to age in that capacity. Now, all of that being said, I'm not going to labor and hang on that too long. That's another lesson for another time. Maybe he'll let me do that one and talk about the timeline and how the years of association with how long someone would live, as opposed to how long they did not live. I mean, remember, Noah taught for 120 years. Okay, that was like the cutoff period that the Father set up anyway, right? The Noetic period, 120 years, and then, of course, the flood, and then a new period of time for the life expectancy of humans as well. All right, back off that for a while. That's another lesson. What I'm trying to get you to understand is this. We will be brought back to the form before the fall. But a lot of us are thinking that we're just going to get back the kingdom, get back the land, get the inheritance, and we go right up to the wall of the fall before Eve fell, and then we stay there. That would be incorrect. Because let me tell you why. I know, don't get on me. I know the Father called us the sons of God, YAHAWAH, before the fall, because just like in Genesis that we just read and we talked about here, it talked about the sons of YAHAWAH, or the sons of God, right? Because here it says here, just if you go right up to 2, it says here, the corruption of mankind. Verse 1, Genesis 6. And it came to pass that when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, the sons of YAHAWAH, saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and that they took them wives of all which they chose. Now we can see that, is this a period before Adam fell? Now we could say yes. But we can also say not necessarily. It could fall within the same frame time, okay? And the reason why I say that is because if you go down to 5, it says, and Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And so this have to be after the fall of Adam and Eve. Why? Because before the fall of Adam and Eve, there was not that level of wickedness that was spoken of or talked about. Okay, but here we see right after that period of time that talks about the. Now I remember my brother Malcolm from Chicago camp, my Reubenite brother. He talked about, and he said, "I'm gonna give you the difference." And he did a lesson on you need to go to Maccabean Spirit and get edified and chime into Maccabean Spirit on 144, and he's got a couple of other channels, Malcolm as well. He talked about the sons of God, the sons of man, and the sons of the wicked. We still have that format at present time. Now, when we go into the new kingdom and the new covenant, over the wall of the fall, will we have the sons of YAHAWAH? Yes. Will we have the sons of man? Yes. And will we have the sons of the wicked? I believe we will, but they will. But those two on the latter part will be under control of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and that power of management will be given to the 144,000 King David, the 144,000, and then the rulership and the royal people who will be in the kingdom will have the ability to address the sons of man and the sons of the wicked, because they will still be in a corruptible capacity, whereas the Israelites will not. Now, everyone who will be in the Israelite kingdom will not be in complete superpower rulership role. They will be respected. They will have the ability of the laws, all the laws in their inward parts, which will give them a format of similitude of a spiritual type power, because the power of the truth in the law and the word is a power. Okay, but in terms of like the power that the angels that were created from that division and capacity from the beginning, will every Israelite have that level of power? I don't know that that's the case, because that would be something that would have to see when we get there, because I don't know that that would be the case. How could that really work? I mean, every single body, every single entity that's an Israelite out of the sand of the sea is going to have the same level of power like what Gabriel or Michael would have. I mean, really? I mean, come on. I don't know. Like I said, I can't answer that. I'm not even going to try to get to that point. But I'm saying whoever's going to have what level of spiritual power that will be used in a orderly fashion. Listen. We need to really get on this, because we get a lot of people who have some spiritual maturity issues that are really causing some big problems. The Most High already designated everybody who's going to have any level of spiritual power. Okay? Let's just make sure we understand that. He's already done that. So before the foundation of the world, the spiritual power that has been delved out, given out, and already scheduled has been established. Don't think that it has not, because it has. I know there's wishes and hopes and dreams that Israelites are going to have all kinds of things that they want in this period of time that they're in now, that they think that they're going to incorporate over into the new covenant, new kingdom. But even scripture doesn't match up on a lot of the things. So you may have dreams, aspirations, and wishes that certain stuff that you see Esau, Edom wielding over here, and you want to take it in control and do it yourself here, and you think that you're not going to have any kind of reins or control over you to do it or apply it. Please, that's not the way. Everything that the Father has going on in heaven and in earth, he's in total control of it. And if you don't understand that and believe that, you're going to get a very serious wake-up call when you see how Yahawah shows up, because he's going to show up in every organization that's going on right here on this entire earthly plane. This entire system we operating under is going to be shut down, because he's coming with the real deal. Now we're real close in compatibility to a lot of stuff that YAHAWAH has given us, because we try to follow scriptures as best we can, Judges chapter 5:11. But I'm telling you, he's bringing the real deal, and there can be no organization that says that we are comparable to YAHAWAH directly from the Father, the way the Father is going to have it set up and done. It's like he said, he's going to make the earth Yahawah's footstool. So if that is the case, none of us are completely compliant on that. In every organization, and no matter what you are, no matter what's going on here in the flesh, it will bow to Yahawah when he shows up representing the Father. If you don't believe that, then okay, you'll see. That's what I'm going to tell you. You will see. So we're going to get into scripture here, and we're going to break down the fact that in earth as it is in heaven has got to be an order in reference to how the Father has set things up before the foundation of the world, predestinated wise. And we're going to completely be in a position to understand that, let me get my glasses set up, understand that anything that we do here, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do it exactly the same way here, but you're going to be in righteous, and you're going to be the righteous wielder of it. You're going to do the same things they're doing here, but you're going to wield it in a righteous capacity. No, it's all going to be different, and it's going to be changed, because the Father's not going to have the same level of this wickedness in the new kingdom and then let you just decide to be the one wielding it now. That's not going to go down like that. And this flesh is not going to be the same flesh, because he told us that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. So we don't know what kind of actual flesh we're going to have. We know it's going to be some format of flesh, but eventually that will be everlasting and will be forever. But we don't know exactly the contents of how it's going to be made in that capacity. And we need to make sure we're very mature in terms of understanding that process, because a lot of us are running around thinking that we're going to go and be in this same kind of flesh. And when we get there, we're going to get to the wall of the fall, and we just not going to fall, but we're going to have that same flesh. No, it's not going to be the same flesh. And so be it, but it's not going to be the same. All right? It's not going to be the same. So I don't know what you're thinking, but it ain't. Anyway, let's get into it. Time to break down some scripture. That was a pretty long commentary, 40 minutes, but hey, it is what it is. That's what he asked me to do. Yahawah has, before the foundation of any worlds, established as it is in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. Okay? And we're going to start right there in Matthew. We'll go into the New Testament. We'll get you right there. We're going to bounce a little bit. We're going to bounce between one. Matthew chapter 6. Okay? And this is going to 10. And it reads. But let's go up a little bit, because it's always a good thing. Okay, we're going to talk about that prayer. But when thou prayest, okay, here we go. We're going to deal with the prayer, okay? All right, Matthew chapter 6, and of course in Luke chapter 11, 2-4 gives you the same depiction and understanding here. Let's go with it, starting at 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. 6. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet. In other words, be discreet about it. Don't have to do it out in public like that. And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father. Who? To thy Father, which is in secret. And thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. Okay? 7. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Okay, now, I said this to you before, right? He says, use not vain repetitions. So if you're going to do mantras and say it, the same way every time, that's like a vain repetition. That's what it is. I mean, hey, you may not like it, but that's what it is. He said, do not repeat. But when ye pray, or when you praying, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do. See? For they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Now, I remember back in the day, they used to have these Hare Krishna dudes. And they used to be around the airports and bus stations and stuff and all, and do it like monks and doing this Hare Krishna crap. And they were doing vain repetitions. Well, if you're doing something all the same way and you're doing it in unison like that, that's a vain repetition. He wants truth and fearful reverence and honesty and love coming out of your spirit and coming out of your soul. He don't want vain repetitions. But, hey, you've been told. 8, be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. See, he already knows. 9, after this manner therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Now, again, this is important in reference to trying to give you an understanding that the flesh you have and the way you are at this time, all the way to the end, and then spin right back to the wall of the fall, you're going to be different because you're going past the wall of the fall. Over that wall of the fall, the spirit's going to be in that format where you had a spiritual body that was being put in a electrochemiluminescence fashion of matter, a spiritual body that's put in a electrochemiluminescence fashion of matter that will be a form of flesh, not like what we have now in the fall, or even up to the wall of the fall before Adam and Eve fell, okay? Even though before they fell, they had a manner of flesh, but it was scheduled to be for the purpose of the cleansing purification through the timeline of the fall. When we go back after prophecy's finished, you're going to go over that wall to the state where your spirit was created, but what format of flesh, whatever electrochemiluminescence will be and how it will be made up. Father said, no blood, no flesh, this flesh and blood in the fallen state can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. So you're not going to do those things in that manner. Okay? You probably will not procreate in the way you did in the fallen state here. And you certainly won't be procreating with any other nations. That's not going to happen. Okay? So that's out. Okay? So you got to take this in mature spiritual condensation and understanding. All right? I know this is tough for some because you want things that you felt as though you were slighted on in this fallen state period in time, but that was predetermined. So if it was predetermined for you to have a bad relationship with women or men or children or whatever in this period of time, it doesn't constitute that you're going to have that same kind of relationship over the wall into a new righteous spiritual body that has a flesh format. It doesn't mean you have to see some form of vengeance against what happened in this fallen state as far as your relationships and your interaction with each other as a created entity, if you can receive it, okay? Not digressing again, all right? So the Father is telling you, as it is, right, when he tells you here on 10, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Everything in heaven is in order. I know that you hear all these crazy stories from all these crazy religious practitioners and Edomites and all kinds of Hamites and different people telling you crap about angels getting with women and creating giants and all kinds of nonsense. This book is not for them, okay? And this is why they come to those conclusions, because they don't. This book doesn't pertain to them. It's by Israelites, inspired by YAHAWAH, by Hashem Yahushua, for Israelites, by YAHAWAH, by Hashem Yahushua. It's not for the rest of the nations, and they're not going to be able to express this information in a true, mature, spiritual capacity to give you full understanding about anything that's historically from the past and prophecy leading to the new periods of time that we're living through on up to the finish. They're not going to be able to do that because the spirit is not in them in that way. They're operating from the left-hand side of of being led astray by YAHAWAH, by Hashem Yahushua. That is scriptural. It's in the Apocrypha. It's in many areas. Maybe you'll give me a lesson to do it on there, and I can show you. They are led astray. Portions of this we've already understand in 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, when he talks about 204 books being authored and written by Ezra and 5 scribes, and he said he's given the truth, this truth to the worthy and the unworthy. And what do you think they're doing with it now? You can see what they're doing with it. Okay, the worthy and the unworthy are equally confused and bringing confusion when it comes to a truth that doesn't belong to them. It only belongs to the ones who have the spring of what? Of knowledge and of life, which is what the scriptures are saying. So, so the bottom line is we're trying to tell you and show you that, let's see here. Let me go back a little bit here. me see. Maybe I started about 43. All right. All right. Okay. I'm right in the Apocrypha right here on Second Ezra chapter 14. And I'm going to read a little bit here to give you an understanding of what I'm talking about, why the information that they're spewing out about all these fallen angels and all this other stuff they're talking about, that's not what it is. They just don't understand. They don't know the deeper understanding from YAHAWAH Shimon Shai, and they're not supposed to have it anyway. Okay. All right. So let me read this for you. Okay. I'm going to start at okay. All right, I'm gonna start right here on 35. No, I'll start at 34 because it gives you a little more clarity. 33 says, and now are ye here. This is Second Ezra chapter 14, and you should read that whole chapter. But I'm just going to pop in here around 33. And now are ye here, and your brethren, okay, among you. All right, hear that? Therefore, if so, be that ye will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death shall obtain mercy. See? Okay. Now, 35. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again. And then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. 36. Let no man therefore come unto me now, nor seek after me these 40 days. That was Ezra, and he was giving instructions to the rest of the people, saying, don't come at me looking for answers yet. It's coming, but not yet. Okay. 37. So I took 5 men as he commanded me, this is what Yahweh said, and we went into the field, into the world, and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Esdras, open thy mouth and drink that I give thee to drink. Then opened I my mouth, right? And behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as it were with water, but the color of it was like fire, right? 40. And I took it and drank, and when I had drunk of it, my heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast, for my spirit strengthened and my memory. So now, see, he was brought back to a point where the creation, he said, his spirit strengthened my memory. So that this drink that the Father gave him, which gave him it was uttered his heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in his breast. It's what you would have had as being in the transition period between the spirit being put into a electrochemiluminescence form of flesh, and then your audience and your meeting with Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and you given the requisition, the spiritual requisition, or your orders or your mission on what your spirit is going to fulfill at this particular time when you go into the world system that is predetermined for a fallen state, if you can receive it. See, so this is what we're talking about. He's talking about that level of understanding that was put upon him, that brought back to his memory. Okay. Now, reading forward, 41. And my mouth was open and shut no more. Okay. 42. The highest, who's that? Yahweh. Yahweh gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that were told, which they knew not, and they sat 40 days and they wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread. Okay, in other words, they wrote in the day, and then they contemplated the stuff that they wrote in the evening. Like, wow, man, that was some serious stuff that the Father gave us that we were putting down in writing. And now we're that's the bread of life. We're just checking it out. Now, did they eat actual bread? Could have, but I'm just saying it's a way for them to reflect on what it is they were writing. 44. And in 40 days, they wrote 204 books. You see what I'm saying? And it came to pass when the 40 days were filled that the highest spake, saying, this is what Yahawah said, the first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy and the unworthy may read it. See? So, the worthy and the unworthy are what you see now in terms of individuals that are religious practitioners, as well as those that are now being awakened in the Israelite fashion of their heritage and understanding. Those you're dealing with the worthy and the unworthy, the religious individuals in the world, and then those that are coming towards the awakening portion of the truth as the Israelites and their lineage. Okay, so these are the worthy and unworthy. But you can see clearly that even the two of those formats, they still have a level of confusion, a level of confusion. You see what I'm saying? They got a level of confusion. And why? Because they don't agree on one platform. And even the ones that say that they are the ones that hold the only platform of completeness, they still have complications with various things that they can't prove in Scripture. So, like I said, the worthy and the unworthy. Now, the unworthy, clearly, I would fall on the side of them being the religious practitioners, because anything that's in a religious capacity or format, the Father has put that in a led astray application. It's a led astray application. Because if you are religious, that means you are worshiping creation instead of the Creator. But on the other side, if you have the men, women, and the children of Israel who are awakening, but still have a shadow of creation worshiping on them that is subliminally seducing them, and they're seduced by that format, they are being contaminated by the unworthy, even though they are the ones that are supposedly worthy of this information. What he said, as he says here, he says, the first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy, right, that would be more on the Israelites that are awakening and still having some challenges in absorbing all of the understanding and the truth, to be compliant with foundationalism. If you're not compliant with foundationalism, you may be of the worthy. We know you're not of the unworthy. We know you're not foundational if you are the unworthy. But if you are of the worthy, you are foundational, but you still have challenges, because you can't understand that you have to be foundational about everything. So you believe that your doctrines and your mantle and whatever level of grace has been afforded you, you feel like that's all you need. That's why you don't give Father Yahawah, who's supposed to be your first love, you don't give him what? You don't give him praise, worship, and prayer wrapped in repentance. You just think that you should give him prayer. So where's the praise and the worship? See, so you're worthy, but you're still confused about foundational reverence for the Father, who is the anchor of all power. So you fall in this category of the worthy and the unworthy that have been given the books, the first of the books. Let's continue. We're going to finish that part. Worthy and unworthy may read it. 46. But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. Now, let's just check this out for a minute, okay? Because I think that we don't really get what there's books, okay? Let's just say this. There's books, all right? There are books out here to date, all right, that we even go through, and we've referenced a lot of these books And when I say we reference them, what I mean is we go through we go through the translations. All right, we go and we speak to the translations of the books. All right, we talk about the NIV, the CA, and all through, right? And we do that. And in the process of doing that, we show different interpretations and we show different definitions of how to express what the truth in the scriptures is supposed to be, right? But we also look at other books that have not been given us, that we know the Vatican has a multitude of them in the catacombs where Vatican City is, right? So, all right, let's just say he said hold back 70. So 280, so let's just say 180 books are going to be given out amongst the worthy and the unworthy, but you still got the 70 that are being held for the wise, as he says, right, among the people. Now, why? He says, because the 47, for in them is the spring of understanding, right? Why is it the spring of understanding in those books? Well, because they're the books that are going to bring you to the complete understanding of how foundational and how intentionally foundational Yahawah the Father is, and that he's in control of everything, and that because he's in control of everything, those 70 books bring out the singularity and the clarity of the singularity of the Father in terms of how he operates to a level that our metabolistic creation can possibly absorb. I said possibly. I didn't say we couldn't necessarily, but possibly absorb. All right. Now, so the spring of understanding is within that realm. All right. And then it continues to say, the fountain of wisdom and the stream of knowledge. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. Now, this is what I was saying about the Father saying, before the foundation of any worlds established, this information was already set predestinatedly out there for the selected elected that he already chose to get this. So if you are of the fashion of creation by Yahawah, where you understand that foundationally you will not be able to get the spring of understanding and the fountain of wisdom and the stream of knowledge unless you can understand those 70 books that will be released in spirit. Spiritual portions of those books is being revealed by the Father in individuals who understand foundationalism, that the Father controls everything at all times. I mean, absolutely everything, including everything I say, you think, I think, and what everyone else thinks. And in all of what we see here about the worthy and the unworthy, and the books that are leading them astray for levels of what? Protection and correction. You see, these 70 books, are they covering protection and correction? Yeah, but see, the spring of knowledge that's in those particular areas of the books, they lean heavily on the foundational understanding of who's doing everything. But see, the worthy and the unworthy, they don't understand the books in the book of knowledge that have been released to them publicly, that the Father is controlling everything, because they come up with all kinds of things where they think that the spiritual entity, the spiritual angel Satan is doing something that is not under the control of the Most High, or he's in contention and fighting against the Most High. See, that's under the books that were released that the Father talked about, okay, where he says you have the worthy and the unworthy are going to have those particular books. And he says, and it came to pass when the 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest spake, saying, the first that thou hast written, publish openly, the worthy and the unworthy may read it. So that's where you're getting all this fallen angel stuff. That's where you get this stuff about Satan fighting against the Most High in heaven and his angels and all this old crap. That ain't what's going down. The Father would never create. See, foundationalism, which you go down, let's go down the verses to where you go to the spring of understanding and the fountain of wisdom. The spring of understanding will tell you that Yahawah, who y'all ignorantly call God, would never create any creation that could go against his power. Before you start hearing stories about fallen angels and giants and all this other bullshit, just think for a moment. Why would an almighty creator create any entity that could defy him and his almighty power? He would never do that. He would never create an angel or any entity that could rebel against him. You don't know what you're talking about. And this is why you are part of the people who have the worthy and the unworthy information, and you're led astray for your protection and your correction. Because he would never create an entity that could overtake him, or even attempt to think that it could overtake him. They are creation. They're not the creator. Why can't where could you not see that in terms of the understanding where it says right here, right? Published openly for the worthy and the unworthy may read it. So when they read it and they're unworthy, this is the stuff they come up with. The unworthy come up with stuff like, well, we're going to have all this spiritual power and we're going to do whatever the hell we want, and no one's going to stop it because God, Yahweh, is just going to give it to us, and we can just run rampant and do what we want. That would be an unworthy type of understanding and thought, because angels doing this. The angels do not have free will. They operate under Yahweh's power. They don't do whatever they want. They cannot do that. And if they could, then Yahweh's not all powerful. You see, if you don't get this, then you are definitely in that class, that dumbass university class of thinking that you got the books that were published openly that are talking to the worthy and the unworthy. Both of those categories have deficiencies in foundational understanding of the Father. Because if you in any way think that you're going to do whatever you want with spiritual power, when that ain't happening in heaven. It says as it is on earth, in heaven as it is on earth, right? Heaven rules earth. Earth don't rule heaven. So everything in heaven is in order. All angels, all entities, all creation is in order all the time. There are no exceptions. Never are there any exceptions. Do you get it? If you do not understand that, then you are in the category, one or the other, of the worthy or the unworthy. You're in that category. You're not in the category of the individuals that understand foundationalism, that the Father controls it all at all times, where that would be the spring of understanding and the fountain of wisdom and the stream of knowledge. That category is specifically for individuals who understand that foundationally everything is under complete order and control by Yahawah Shem Yahushua. Now, if you don't get that, you are in that category above of the worthy and unworthy, because you are not compliant with everything the Father has that is going on. You do not understand predestinately. He predestined all creation. Hello, all creation is predestinated. Do you get it? So you're not going to have the same flesh and run around thinking that you're going to be popping and stopping and chopping and doing all kinds of weird, crazy stuff with spiritual power to other nations that are not under orders. Just like in military, he says you're under orders. And in a real military fashion, the Father is a military type. He has a military type mindset for certain areas as well in terms of how he is. That's why he's called the Lord of Hosts. The Lord of Hosts is what? The Lord of Armies. You will be in order. You will not be doing whatever the hell you want to do with spiritual power that you don't own or control. And everyone's not getting it. So get out of your spiritual delusion and come up off of your spiritual immaturity and understand everything has been pre-written and it's all operating foundational. Or you are under the guise and under the spiritual blockage of the worthy and unworthy. Because they got the books and they're reading it and they're reading it and they're fucking it all up. And if you're not, prove to me you're not. Stay foundational all the time in everything. Everything. When something happened, who did it? Oh, the Lord's not dealing with you. What the hell are you talking about? Then who's dealing with him? Who's dealing with him then? Don't you ever say that. That means you blasphemy, demean the Father's power. He's controlling everything that he's got going on in heaven. And when heaven, when heaven is operating here on earth, it will be in order, the Father's order. And you will do only what he will allow you to do through YAHAWAH. And that includes anybody on any thrones. King David, 144,000 royal citizens, any of the heathens that are out there. Everything will be under heaven. And if it ain't being done in heaven, you ain't doing it here. Get it straight. And stop saying immature bullshit. You need to be chastised for it. This flesh is not going to be the same flesh. And if you got your feelings hurt while you were here, too bad. Get over it. Grow up. Be mature. Be spiritually mature. As it is in earth, as it is in heaven, means heaven rules. Same rules there. And everything's in order there. Tell me it's not. Tell me everything in heaven ain't order now. I dare you to say everything in heaven is not in order at all times. And then deal with that in terms of what you say. Most High is not playing with you. If you are the worthy and you're the unworthy, that's what he puts you in. That's the status. If you don't understand foundationally that he controls all things in creation, that he has under his total control at all times, then you in that category. You are in that book. You're in that class. You're in that group of the worthy and the unworthy. That's where you are. You want to be in the category that's set apart, that deals with them, right, that are the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. That's where you need to be. If you don't mirror Hamashiach, if you don't even try to mirror Hamashiach, you're not in that lower category there of the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. You're not in that if you ain't trying to mirror Hamashiach. I'm just telling, just saying, you can't be. How you gonna be? How does Mashiach treat all creation that he interacts with, that was brought in, that was thought into existence by the Father and put in his hands? How does YAHAWAH deal with all creation? All creation. Everything that was ever created, that he constructed with the angels, but the Father brought it into existence. Brought that process into existence for him to go ahead and construct it. How does YAHAWAH Hamashiach, who they ignorantly call Jesus, how does he deal with all creation? Go back and study him. Do you do what he does? Even no matter how bad the fallen state we're in, do you do that? You don't. And if you say you do, you're a damn liar. You do not mirror Hamashiach. You don't even try hard enough to do that. Because when you deal with women, and you deal with men, and you deal with children, and you deal with religious organizations and everything else, and even when you deal with your own self and your own mindset, you do not mirror Hamashiach. You know you don't. And don't sit up there and fucking lie. Your flesh will not be the same flesh when you go past the wall of the fall. Because he already told you what you're not going to inherit. You're not going to inherit this flesh over here. You're not going to inherit this blood type and the blood that goes through the shit that goes through here over there. So that means the stuff you're doing over here, you ain't doing over there. Not doing it. Make me sidebar again, okay? Going to Luke. Got scriptures to get through. Got stuff to do. So get with it. Luke, chapter 1. Going down to 32. Luke chapter 1, verse 32, and it reads, he shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord power, the Lord Yahawah shall give unto him the throne of his father David. Did you hear? I'm going to read it again. He shall be great, talking about Yahawashi, and shall be called the Son of the Highest, of Yahawah, the Highest. And the Lord of power shall give him unto him. Who's giving it? The Father is giving him unto him the throne of his father David. The similitude is what? That the rulership will be in order here on in earth from heaven. 33. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. And of his kingdom there shall be no end. So that tells you Yahawashi will be here on the earth in a major spiritual capacity to deal with the rulership and the delving out of the rulership power to David, to King David in 144. He ain't just going to be sitting in heaven with his father. That's why his father said he's going to make the earth his footstool. Why make him his footstool if he ain't going to be down here doing stuff? You immature idiots say stuff you don't even know sometimes. You're so smart, you're stupid. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. See? It's talking about Yahawashi. If he's reigning over the house of Jacob, it'll be here on earth, and his kingdom will be no end. Right? Okay. Boy, oh boy, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of spiritual common sense, and you might just make it. You just might make it. Revelation chapter 1 and verse 6. Okay? And hath made us, okay, okay, all right. Go up, just go up 1 to 5, just so we get some clarity, okay? All right? Verse 5, chapter 1, verse 5, Revelation 1:5. And from Yahawashi HaMashiach, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth. Who? The prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins, cleansed and purification in his own blood. 6. And hath made us kings and priests unto Yahawah his Father. Unto Yahawah, unto God his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. You hear that? And then, of course, it talks about, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen. All right? And then it talks about Alpha Omega being the beginning and the end, saith Yahawashi, which is and which was and which is all is to come, the Almighty. And why is he the Almighty? Because he's presenting his Father's rulership over all existence. He's not the Father, but he's presenting the almighty power of the Father. Get it straight. Boy, you dunces. Oh, Father, forgive me. I know. All right, so you got that, all right? You can see, what does it say? Who we becoming? And hath made us kings and priests unto Yahawah. The Israelite heritage, and that badge will be there. Yes, yes. In Revelation, you got gates with the names of Israelite tribes on them. Okay, that's memorialized. Thrones, yes, that's memorialized. But you're going to be the sons and daughters of Yahweh. You're going over the wall of the fall onto the new portion of eternal existence forever. All right. They know the heathens and the heathens and the corruptible individuals that are morally corruptible, who will be the other nations. They know that we were the Israelites, but they know now we become something even greater and larger and more power as the sons of Yahweh, as the sons of God. Yeah, you got a badge, you got your martial badge that you're an Israelite on as you dealing with them and instructing them and teaching them, but you are a son of Yahweh and a daughter of Yahweh. Yeah, you get it? You don't have to keep going, well, we will be the Israelites and we're going to rule over men. Of course you are, but you're the sons of the Most High at that time doing it. You have come through the transfiguration. The transformation has happened. Okay? Accept it. Don't want to still be in the flesh the same way you are in the fallen state. You don't want to still do that. You'll have better pleasure and grace and better pleasure and wonderful things that you can't imagine when you become the sons and daughters of Yahweh. You're not taken away from the fact that you still have an Israelite heritage on you. Okay, fine. But get your mind out of the flesh in this fallen state, because you're not keeping it. And don't whine and bitch about the fact you can't keep this flesh that you have in the fallen state. You're getting something better. You got a mansion, you want to stay in a damn ghetto. Sometimes sometimes Israelites, y'all some dumbass people, man. Y'all just can't get it. He just got y'all so spiritually blocked that you got to be called foreheads of flint. It's not that simple. And it's not that hard. You're going to become sons and daughters of Yahweh. Yeah, you got an Israelite heritage, but that's not the key. They know that. They're going to know that you're even more, you're upgraded even more. Accept the upgrade. Oh man, they don't even want to accept the upgrade. Oh, we still want to be called the Israelites. What's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? You don't want the upgrade? You don't want to become sons and daughters of Yahweh? You want to still just be Israelite? Just low-level thinkers. Spiritually blocked. We're going to Revelation chapter 5. We're going to start at let's just start right at the top of that, Revelation 5, and we'll go to verse 1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? 3, and no man in heaven nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Did you hear that? Okay. 4, and I wept much because no man was found worthy, notice the word worthy, to open and to read the book. See, not worthy. So even though you may be called the worthy, you ain't worthy, because there's the unworthy and the worthy. There it is again, right? Neither to look thereon. 5, and one of the elders saith unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yahushua, right? The root of David hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. 6, and I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the 7 spirits of Yahweh, sent forth into all the earth. Where? Into all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, The 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. You hear that? And they sung a new song, saying, now, does this give you any indication why the Father put in my spirit to sing reverence to him? You think I'm doing it just because I'm trying to be some kind of person doing something special? No, it's in the spirit for me to sing, just like it says here. And they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to YAHAWAH by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. He getting us out of everywhere. 10, and hast made us unto our power, YAHAWAH, kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. Now, kings and priests, all right? As I said, you get an Israelite heritage badge, but you become the sons and daughters of YAHAWAH. Take the upgrade. Stop this bullshit you're saying. The Israelite process is going to stop once you get out of the fallen state, period, in prophetic timeline, and we go into the new covenant kingdom and become the sons and daughters of YAHAWAH with an Israelite badge of heritage, but with the power and the authority and the rulership of the sons and daughters of YAHAWAH. This is foundational understanding. If you can't get this and you stuck in this period of time where you can only think of this as being the only flesh you can imagine, then you blocked spiritually. Boy. All right, I'm going to Revelation 11. Go with me. Come on. Revelation 11, 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Hamashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. You hear that? So he will be here, and he will be doing things, and you will be part of it if you are the selected, elected to be part of it. Okay. Old Testament. We're going to start first at 2 Samuel. So go with me. 2 Samuel. And we're going to start at 7. 2 Samuel chapter 7, and we're going to read 12 through 13. Now, this is David's plans to build the temple in that particular arena of their chapter, just so those that don't know, do your study, check it out. 12. This is YAHAWAH's government with David. Shalaki. Covenant, yeah, same thing. Government, government, covenant. This is covenant, all right? All right. Read it, start at 8, right at the top. Now, therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith YAHAWAH of hosts, see, Lord of hosts, order, military style, you will have to be in it. YAHAWAH of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. You hear that? 9. And I was with thee, whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. See, those are those great men, those giants you're talking about, you dingbats. 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more, neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. See? This is prophetic. This is future. 11. And since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also Yahawah telleth thee that he will make thee an house. 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. 13. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Right? You hear that? And of course, 14 talks about, and I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men. Hear that? And with the stripes of the children of men. So you see, Most High is doing the correction, and ain't nobody slipping and sliding away from it. I don't care who you are or what title you think you have. You're not getting away with anything. That was Samuel chapter 7, 12, well, actually 8 through 13. 12 through 13 was what I need to reach. And now I'm going to go to 2 Samuel 23. So go with me. And of course, we're talking about David's last song. And I want to read 3. The power of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me, he that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of Yahawah. You hear that? I'm going to read it again for all you who think you're going to just do whatever the hell you want with spiritual power, because you're not doing that. 3. Yahawah, the power of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. That's Yahweh Shai. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of Yahawah. And you can read the rest where he be as, and it says here, and he shall be as the light of the morning when the sun riseth, even in the morning without clouds, as the tender grass springing out of the earth by clear shining after rain. Just, more clarity. All right. Now we're going to 1 Chronicles. Okay. And we're going to chapter 28. And this is David addresses about the temple. And we're going to go down to 5. Okay. We'll start at 4. 4. Howbeit Yahawah power of Israel chose me before all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. For he hath chosen Judah to be the ruler, and of the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he liked me to make me king over all Israel. 5. And of all my sons, for Yahawah power, for the Lord Yahawah hath given me many sons. He hath chosen Solomon, my son, to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of Yahawah over Israel. And of course, Yahawah, if anybody knows, Yahawashi was Solomon. Yahawashi was in the spirit of Solomon when he was here. Okay, just for those who know our book and know the truth. Okay. And you can read the rest of that and it'll explain some of that for you. All right, we're going to 2 Chronicles. So go with me to 2 Chronicles. And we're going to read chapter 9. And this is the Queen of Sheba pops into the place, and she's enamored with Solomon, of course, obviously. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, starting at 8. Blessed be Yahawah thy power, which delighteth in thee to set thee on his throne, to king, right? For Yahawah thy power, because thy power loved Israel to establish them forever. Therefore made he king over them to do judgment and justice. You got it? All right. Now we're going to the book of Jeremiah. Going to Jeremiah. And I want to start Jeremiah chapter 31. Now, y'all notice when we talk about this a lot in terms of future reference to what's going to happen to the children of Israel, scattered wherever they are and what have you. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 31, and we're going to go down to 31. We're definitely down there in that area, right? Because we had talking about the new covenant. See, once you get to verse 27 on down, you're talking about a new covenant that we're going to have, that the wacky-tacky religious practitioners and them think that they're part of. But if you're not Israel and it's of the selected elected, you're not anyway. So don't get it twisted. Okay. All right, we're going to start at I challenge you, you need to read Jeremiah 31. This is definitely there for you to do it. Behold, Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahawah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahawah. Now, see, this has a lot to unpack, but I'm not going to unpack it all. But I'm just going to give a quick synopsis on this. He said, not in 32, not according to the covenant that he made with their fathers in the day that he took them out of the by the hand and had bring them out of the land of Egypt. What Yahawah is telling us is the fact that you're not going to have the same kind of process and participation with the new covenant kingdom when it comes to your total makeup in terms of what your eternal existence will be. It's not going to be the same. That's why I'm saying flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of heaven from this old covenant, and you can't take the stuff from this old covenant and you're going to bring it into the new covenant. The laws are, see, what people don't miss when we talk about it, go, no, but all the law is going to still be there, including all the old laws from when we were here. You just turn your dunce hat to the left a little bit so I can get through to your brain. Now, what Father's telling you is that the application and process of law, not just all those old laws, the process of law is going to be applied in the new covenant, new kingdom, but it's going to incorporate every law that's universal in existence when it comes to the Most High. Though all those laws will be in your inward parts, but we won't need the laws of the fallen state that permeate wickedness. Okay, there's certain laws of the flesh that we're not going to have those apply in the new covenant, new kingdom, because we won't have the same kind of flesh. Do you get that? We're not going to have the same kind of flesh. So some of the laws, if you read all 613 laws, and I pulled out my list of the laws in terms of certain sacrifices, in terms of certain ordinances, women having a menstrual cycle. We don't know. They said flesh and blood don't inherit the kingdom of heaven. So what kind of menstrual cycle would the women have in the new covenant and new kingdom if there's not the same kind of blood that we have in this fallen state? Remember, the fallen state menstrual cycle, blood cycle happened once the Father said that Eve would bear children in sorrow, and then she would be to her husband. Roughly paraphrase, she would be in a position where she would mourn and long for her husband, but she would have these children in that level of controversy through that menstrual cycle and that administration. Like, they have that now. No flesh and blood of here is going to be the same as it is there. We don't know what kind of metabolistic stuff will be going through the body when we get to the new covenant, new kingdom. But clearly he says this covenant ain't going to be the same. So you know you're not going to have, you can't take the fallen state covenant attributes and take them over and say, yep, we're going to do all the same things we did here in the fallen state. We're going to do them over there. No, you're not, dumbass. You ain't doing the same stuff over here. Because then what? If that's the case, why go through all this? We know we're going through to learn the difference between what's right and what's wrong and how things have to go back to being balanced. But you won't need some of the things that you're doing in the state, because the covenant that was set up here in this fallen state was for the purpose of the fallen state prophetic period. It was for the purpose of the fallen state prophetic period. You won't be in a fallen state prophetic period when you get to the new covenant, new kingdom. So certain of these particular covenantal laws will not apply. Can't you get this? Are you so fucking spiritually blocked you can't understand that? Think about it. Not according to the covenant that I made with your fathers in the day that I took them by the hand and brought them out of the land of flesh, Edom, Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I husband adulterers. We have, why he calls us an adulterous generation? Unto them saith Yahawah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahawah. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahawah. In other words, you won't teach wickedness. You won't want to do wickedness. You won't mess with the other nations, because you won't be able to do it in a righteous body in the new covenant, new kingdom. And I don't care what the hell you think you want. Stop being so goddamn perverted. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor any wickedness from before, and every man his brother, saying, know Yahawah, for they shall know me from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahawah, for I will forgive their iniquity. See, no more wicked operation under law, and I will remember their sins no more. Thus saith Yahawah, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and the stars for the light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahawah of hosts is his name. Now, when the Most High created all the ordinances, once he did this, remember, he created everything in creation was in good standing before the fall. So everything in creation has to go back to good standing the way it was before the fall. Because once the fall happened, it affected a lot of the ordinances, but certain ordinances it didn't affect. Did the fall affect the sun? Tell me how the fall of man affected the sun that the Father created. How about the moon? How about any of the lights of heaven? How did the fall affect that? Can you tell me? Can you break that out? Can you show me where those ordinances are operating corruptly? Now, the sun is operating great because it's roasting the hell out of the red roach Edomites, which they're supposed to, because they're created as the vessels of wrath created for destruction. So anything that is created for destruction, the Father says is going to be hewn down and put in the fire anyway. So think about it. Makes sense to me. Nothing's operating out of order with the Most High. So stop thinking you're going to have these rules and these laws in this fallen state, and you're just going to backpack them and put them in my backpack, going to take them into the new covenant. You dumbass. You ain't doing that. And he ain't letting you do that. And you're not going to do whatever you want. So you might as well grow up and figure that out. Zechariah. Go on to Zechariah. Let's go. We're ready to clean this up. We're getting ready to finish up these scriptures here. I'm sorry. Shalaki Yahawah. Okay. Zechariah chapter 14. Y'all all know this. This is all part of what we always talk about. Going down to verse 9, when Yahawah will be king over all, and he's going to have his son and King David and the 144,000 ruling. So get ready. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 9, starting at verse 9. And Yahawah shall be king over all earth. See, it's capital letters. And in that day shall there be one power, one Yahawah, and his name one, because his son represents him. 10. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Gibeah to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. That means it's all going to be beautiful, set up. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Haniel unto the king's winepress. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. 12. And this shall be the plague wherein Yahawah will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. See, he's taking care of that. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. You hear that? And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Remember the scene from Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when them devils and them demons stayed up there, when Belloc was trying to bring something out of the Ark of the Covenant, and then what did them damn devils get? When them spirits came up out of there, what happened to their flesh? And what happened to their face? It melted. You hear that? Most High is not going to accept this flesh and blood into the kingdom, and not even for them devils, and especially for them devils. And then the same thing, you think about what happened in the Holy Grail. Remember when they drank of the cup, and remember when that devil, he drank of the cup, what happened to his face and his hand? See, Most High is not playing. 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahawah shall be among them. What's a tumult? A tumult is a order of power that can destroy. Okay, from Yahawah shall be among them, and they shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. See, the Most High going to send Egypt against Egypt. We got that already. And Judah shall also fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. 15. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, and of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. In other words, all power will be under control. 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King Yahawah of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So they got to be taught how to do it, and where and how and when to do it. And if any man, Shalaki, and if any family of Egypt go not up and come not that have no, and Shalaki, Egypt, go not up and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherein Yahawah will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. See, this shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto Yahawah, and the pots of Yahawah's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem, in Judea, and Judah shall be holiness unto Yahawah of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seeth therein that in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. See, ain't no Canaanites getting in, brother. So you ain't getting them as no damn concubines. You can forget about that bullshit. He said none of them. And then, of course, in Nehemiah 13, you can't have no Amorite and no Moabite. And you damn sure ain't getting no Obadiah. You ain't getting in Obadiah. You ain't getting no Edomite, because they're going to be done after the years they put in to replenish. Obadiah 1:18. So that's out. Now we're going to Daniel. We can finish up right here. So we coming in. Yeah, we actually getting in a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought the Most High might have me out here a little bit further, but it looks like I'm going to be getting finished a little sooner. Oh, Koholo Yahawah Shem Yoshai. Daniel chapter 7. There we go. Daniel 7. There's so much to unpack here in the vision of the four beasts. in Daniel 7. I'm just going to pop one down here to 27 because I'm talking about the Ancient of Days, my father, the Ancient of Days. Woohoo! Let's do that one. We're going to talk about the Father because he's all beyond, 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 beyond. The Ancient of Days, Daniel chapter 7, starting at 9. Beheld till the thrones were cast down. Who cast down their thrones? The ones that sat on the thrones, them elders, man. They saw the Most High and Yahawaah come out, and they give it up. Got to give it up. Were cast down. The Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Wow, sure can't be no Edomite. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. His wheels were his feet. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of a great word, the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. See, our Father, he's controlling absolutely everything. If you can't get this, man, I mean, just how much blockage are you under? I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. He came with the chariots, Yahawaah, and came to the Ancient of Days, to his Father, and they brought him near before him. Who brought him? The angels and the chariots. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Now, when all people, nations, and everything, we're talking about the Israelites, of course, that were scattered, all those going to be serving him. But then also all creation, they'll be salvaged. I did a lesson on salvation and the salvaging of other nations. Go look it up, because it talks specifically, and it goes in Zechariah 14 too. Other nations will be salvaged, but they won't have that level of rulership. Okay, now, and we'll go a little bit here down to going down to 17, but the vision interpreted. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. 16. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all of this. See? So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. 17. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever. Okay? So read the rest of that, but I'm just saying, when the saints take the kingdom, who's controlling them doing this? The Father is. He's in control of them doing it. They're not doing it on their own. They're under control. Okay, let's finish up in Ezekiel. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 37. Well, I guess I'll probably hit. Yeah, I'm gonna hit a couple of verses in the Apocrypha before I get out. But let me get 37 in. Ezekiel chapter 37, and I'm gonna go down to 21. And this is the vision of the valley of dry bones. It's in that chapter, and of course it talks about the vision explained, and of course the reunion of Judah and Israel is in this chapter as well. But we're talking about the Davidic kingdom. This is where we want to go, into the Davidic kingdom here, right? And when it talks about here in verse 24, well, you can actually go up to 23 a little bit, which I will. Ezekiel 37:22, right? And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel, and one king shall be king over all of them, and they shall be no more two nations. Since you ain't talking, see, that's where the two sticks come together. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. No more fake religious practitioner doctrines and things of devils, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. See, that's what I'm saying. None of this fallen state stuff is going into the kingdom. So enjoy it while you can enjoy it now, but you ain't carrying none of this stuff over into the new kingdom, including dealing with the other nations and their women. You're not doing that, and their women. No, none of that's happening. So this is here. He said, you're not doing any of that, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwellings, places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power. All right, 24. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. My servant David shall be their prince over them. 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. So the Father says he will place them and multiply them. He didn't say you doing it. He says he's going to do it. All right? So don't get it twisted and stop acting like, oh, well, I'm going to just take my thing and I'm going to make all kinds. I'm just going to make 1,000 children. No, he didn't need your thing to make it in the beginning. Stop being so high and mighty. My tabernacle also shall be with them, yea, I will be their power, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that, see, so they're going to be there to know that I am YAHAWAH, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. You hear that? So the Most High is showing you right off the bat, he's lining up everything. He's got everything lined up and everything under control, and that's how that's going to be. All right, I'm going to go to Wisdom of Solomon, and then we get ready to wrap it up. Okay, Wisdom of Solomon. And I got 2nd Ezra's. We're going to go to Wisdom of Solomon first. And I want to go to chapter 6. Okay. And we're going to go and read that 1 through 24, right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6. All right, here he goes. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand, learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Shalaki, I need more water. I need a little bit of the water. That be judges of the ends of the earth, right? Give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest. Who shall try your works and search out your counsels? Because being ministers of his kingdom, ye have not judged all right, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of YAHAWAH. See, this is telling you you're not understanding how worthy and unworthy and what you're not picking up on foundationalism. So that's why I had to bring this out, because you need to know that. Okay? Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in the high places. For mercy will soon, pardon the meanest, but mighty men shall be mightily tormented. See that? For he which is Lord over all shall fear no man's persons, nor shall he stand in awe of any man's greatness. For he hath made the small great, and the earth and the careth for all alike. But a sore trial shall come upon the mighty. Unto you, therefore, O kings, unto you, therefore, O kings, do I speak, that ye may learn wisdom and not fall away. For they that keep holiness holily shall be judged holy, and they that have learned such things shall find what to answer. Wherefore set your affliction upon my words, desire them, and ye shall be instructed. Wisdom. 12. Wisdom is glorious and never fadeth away. Yea, she is easily seen of them that love her, and found of such that seek her. She preventeth she preventeth them that desire her. Her is making herself first known unto them. Whosoever seeketh her early shall have no great travail, for he shall find her sitting at his doors. You see that? Most High is showing you he's delivering that to you. All right? Ooh. Sorry. Whoso seeketh her early shall have no great travail, for he shall find her sitting at her doors. To think therefore upon her is perfection of wisdom, and whosoever watcheth for her shall quickly be without care. For she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her, showeth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love. You hear that? And love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto the laws is the assurance of incorruption. You hear that? And incorruption maketh us near unto power. Therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to the kingdom. 21. If your delight be in the thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, honor wisdom, that ye may reign evermore. 22. As for wisdom, what she is and how she came up, I will tell you, and will not hide mysteries from you, but will seek her out from the beginning to her nativity, and bring the knowledge of her into light, and will not pass over the truth. 23. Neither will I go with consuming envy, for such a man shall have no fellowship with wisdom. But the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and the wise king is the upholding of the people. 25. Receive therefore instruction through my words, and it shall do you good. You hear that? Oh boy, the Most High is bringing it. I love it. All right, now we're going to get to Second Esdras, and we can close out here. Where we at? Second Esdras, and we're going to go to chapter 12 real quick. All right. And we're going to start at 13. Okay. Second Ezra chapter 12 and 13. Okay, here we go. All right, Second Ezra chapter 12 and 13. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. As for the voice of which thou hearest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation, that after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings. See, we talked about striving, remember? And strivings, and it shall stand in peril and failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. Whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. See, I'm giving you these interpretations so you get this breakdown. That in him there shall arise shall be but small, and their year 2 of them shall perish, and the middle time approaching 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. She's talking about how the Babylon's going to be broken down. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads arising, this is the interpretation. In his last days shall the Most High rise up 3 kingdoms and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth. See, now you see how he's bringing into Babylon into the picture? Above all those that were before them, therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. See that? For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness. See, the Most High got him going all the way to the end, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that the great head signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. But the 2 that remaineth shall be slain with the sword. 28. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at that last shall the fall through Shalaki. But at last he shall fall through the sword himself. See? And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest hath kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion whom thou sawest rising out of the wood and roaring and speaking to the eagle and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard. This is the anointed, see, this is YAHAWAH, which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end, and he shall reprove them and shall unbraid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. 34. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been pressed upon my borders, and shall make them joyful until the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream that thou sawest. These are the interpretations. Kolo YAHAWAH Ba'ashem YAHAWAH Ba'ashem Rekagwadash Wada YAHAWAH Wada YAHAWAH, for your mercy as I cry. Shalaki YAHAWAH, for your love all the time. Baba Kashai YAHAWAH, for a part all the time. Kolo YAHAWAH Ba'ashem YAHAWAH Shalaki, my Father, for the sins as I cry. Forgive me, my Father, if I offended you on high. Kolo YAHAWAH Ba'ashem